currently in the middle of set champ season for Reign of Jafar, and I thought it might be a good idea to go over some things that you shouldn't do when attending tournaments, and of course 2 that you absolutely should. But before we get into it, I want to remind everyone to please like this video and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Disney Lorcana content. I post brand new videos every Friday. Alright, let's go over some things. First thing you should avoid doing at a Lorcana tournament is be a sore loser. I get it, we all want to win, but we have to remember that this is a game first and foremost. Saying things like, you only won because you drew that exact card, or I would have won if this had happened, or insulting them for playing a specific deck, are all pretty rude in the grand scheme of things. It is okay to discuss the game with your opponent afterwards and talk about how it went, as long as it's in the spirit of good sportsmanship. It also sort of depends on how you phrase things. For example, saying something like, you only won because you played a Pete that turn is kind of rude compared to saying something like, oh man, I thought I had it until you played that Pete. You're conveying the same information in a way, but in one example, you're dismissing your opponent's win and saying that they didn't earn it, or implying it at least. And in the other, you're just commenting on what happened in the game. But of course, tone has a lot to do with it as well. The point is, try really hard not to dismiss your opponent's win and just be graceful in defeat. Act the way you'd want your opponent to act towards you if you had won the game. Especially if your opponent is a child. Nobody is going to be on your side if you're rude to a 12-year-old girl who beat you in a card game. Next up, don't be exclusionary. This is a pretty broad topic, but try to be welcoming to everybody that showed up to play. The best thing about Disney Lorcana is its community. We have competitive players, new TCG players, adults, kids. I mean, the list goes on, so just be nice to everybody. It's good that our game has the thriving community it does, and we should strive to keep it that way. The next one I don't hear talked about very much, so I feel like I should bring it up. Do not touch your opponent's cards without asking first. Have you ever been sitting across from an opponent and you play a card that they've never seen, and suddenly they just reach across the table and grab your card to look at it? Because it has happened to me before a few times, and it's always felt kinda rude. Instead, just try asking your opponent to see some of their cards first, or just simply ask, what does that card do? Technically, they have to tell you, so just do that. The other thing is discard piles. You are allowed to look through your discard pile as well as your opponent's whenever you want, but don't just reach across the table and grab your opponent's discard pile, especially in the middle of their turn, and especially without asking first. If your opponent declines to show you their discard pile, then just call a judge, because you are well within your rights to see it. Just don't go grabbing it without asking first. It's common courtesy. The last thing you should avoid is interacting with games currently in progress. If you finish your game at a tournament and you start watching the one next to you or your friend's game that is currently going on, that's fine, but just stay out of it. Anything you say, any information you give or tell them about missed triggers or whatever can change the outcome of the game dramatically in someone's favor. It's not your job to maintain their perfect game state, it's theirs. Also, do not give tips to one of the players while you are playing. That kind of information can swing someone's game that they might have lost, and it's going to make the other player very upset at you. This has happened to me at a tournament before, and I was a little annoyed to say the least. I don't think that the game was going to go any differently. I did lose that game, but I still got a little annoyed at the person who started giving my opponent tips in the middle of our game, and it was only game 2 out of 3, so that was frustrating. Because think about it, you wouldn't want someone walking up to your opponent in the middle of a game, telling them the perfect play, and then suddenly you lose. That just feels really bad, and it's just worse than rude, so don't do it. You're allowed to watch games in progress, but you should remain quiet for the most part and not interact with the players at all, especially if one of the players is your friend. You don't want to get disqualified because a judge determined that the things you were saying to your friend constitute cheating. And also, if you're going to watch a game, do not stand behind the person that your friend is playing, because that just looks incredibly suspicious. Okay, so now that we've talked about some things that you shouldn't do at a tournament, let's talk about 2 things that you should do when you go to a Lorcana tournament, and the first one is hygiene. If you're anything like me, smells just bother you a lot. Whether it's body odor or bad breath, it can get to you and just be very unpleasant to be around. So Please shower, brush your teeth, clean your clothes, etc. Practicing good hygiene is not only essential in life, but it's especially important when you're going to be in a confined space with others playing a card game for hours. You don't really want to be stinking the place up. I always bring some breath mints or gum to tournaments, as well as some deodorant just in case I need to freshen up, because I'm just very subconscious about being the stinky guy at the card game event, because even if you can't smell yourself, others probably can, so just be very aware of it. And finally, to wrap this all up, my second thing you should do is call a judge. There is no shame in calling a judge to clarify a rule. Do not be afraid of it. Your opponent shouldn't be getting angry about it either. If they are, that's honestly even more reason to call a judge. Judges are there to protect you. They are there to help you. Most of the time, I've called a judge because both me and my opponent were confused about a rule interaction, and there was no ill will on either of our parts. We just wanted some clarification. I know it can be scary, like calling a judge feels like you're accusing your opponent of something, but you shouldn't feel that way. Also, don't be salty if your opponent calls a judge on you for something rules related. They probably just want some clarification on something as well. It's perfectly normal and it's okay. Judges are there for a reason. Please call them. They're nice people. They want to help you. And that's it. Those are all of the do's and don'ts that I could think of for playing in a Lorcana tournament. If there are any that I didn't cover in this video, please let me know in the comments below. And thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Lorcana videos. I post a new one every single Friday. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye. Love you.